So Aljamain Sterling just recently on the Ariel show came out explaining why he didn't call out Alexander the Great Volkanovski, the featherweight champion, one of the greatest of all time, without a doubt. And his explanation was he didn't give the performance he needed to feel confident enough that he can go up against Volk. Like he said he just didn't have that kind of performance he wanted to where he could have any room or pull to actually call out Alexander Volkanovski. Look, fair enough, but I don't know the reason why he didn't have the performance against Cejudo, the performance that he wanted, is because Henry Cejudo can wrestle. And so can Alexander Volkanovski. And this is the issue with Aljamain Sterling, is he's a great grappler. He can take you down. And if he gets you down, it could be trouble. But when he fights a guy who can actually match the wrestling of Sterling and has good takedown defense, and he can't just go out there and just take them down whenever he wants, then it becomes a tough fight. Like, look at his first fight with Petr Yan. He could barely get off a takedown and got outstruck. And then the second time, I mean, fair play, he did end up beating Petr Yan despite barely being able to take him down. But that's mainly because, a close first round and those two other the second and the third round where he was able to backpack him, dominate those rounds to get in the decision. Like, fair play. Like, Aljamain Sterling is great at game planning for guys and adapting, outsmarting his opponents. Even the toughest styles of guys, Aljo, he knows how to win. He won a tough, grindy fight against Cejudo where even though he wasn't really able to out-wrestle him, he was able to outstrike him. But against Alexander Volkanovski, who is one of the best strikers in MMA, you really think that Aljo, with his funk style, is going to phase Alexander Volkanovski? Hell no. Like, come on. Like, there's no way in hell he beats Volkanovski on the feet. Volkanovski's too clean, too technical, and too powerful for Aljamain Sterling. And he's just simply too big for Aljamain Sterling. Volkanovski is as complete as it gets. He's got the advantage on the feet. But he also is strong as hell, and he can wrestle. He can handle himself in the wrestling, and his defensive jiu-jitsu is on point. I mean, just look at his fights with Brian Ortega and Islam Makhachev. He broke the Dagestani code against Islam. Do you really think the Division III wrestling of Aljo would be a problem for Volk? Get out of here, man. Get out of here. Islam couldn't submit him when he had his back. Aljo couldn't submit Petr Yan or Cejudo when he had their back. You think if he gets Volk's back, which I don't even think he's touching his back, but if he does, you think Aljamain is going to be able to sub him? Nope. Ortega's jiu-jitsu didn't work, and Ortega's BJJ is levels above that Serra Longo BJJ. So there's no chance he gets a sub. No chance he gets Volkanovski on the ground. Volkanovski brings that style that Yan brought, but with better striking, better IQ. He brings that style that Cejudo brought, but same thing. He's way better on the feet, and he's not 5'4". Like, Volkanovski's like 5'6", but that's like 1 inch shorter than Aljamain Sterling, and he literally matches the reach of Aljamain Sterling. Like, both guys like have a 71-inch reach or 72-inch reach, so equal in reach, not far apart in height, and Volkanovski has all the stylistic advantages. So I'm sorry, Aljamain, if you're not ready for Volkanovski now, you're gonna be ready for him like literally never. Like, never in a million years would he win that fight. And you run back that Henry Cejudo fight 10 times, I promise you Aljamain Sterling never just takes down Henry and has his way with him and has that Sanhagen performance. He will never be able to take down Henry. I mean, he can take him down, but he'll never be able to secure the position that he needs to get the rear naked choke, and he'll never be able to hold down Henry long enough. And it's always going to be competitive on the feet, and it's always going to be difficult with the wrestling. So, like, yeah. And he's saying, oh, well, you know what? With my performance over Sean O'Malley, hopefully I can prove myself worthy of fighting Volk. And it's like, bro, Sean O'Malley cannot wrestle to save his life. Like, Sean O'Malley stylistically is a favorable matchup in comparison to Henry Cejudo and even Peter Yan, who got robbed by O'Malley. You know what I'm saying? Like, Sean O'Malley is just a long-rangey striker. He's another Corey Sandhagen. So you can't flex off an easy win over Sean O'Malley to say that you're ready, to tell the fans that you're ready to go up against Alexander Volkanovski. Maybe if he could have actually went out there and folded Henry in the grappling and got the sub anyway, maybe we're talking. But even then, I'd still say Volkanovski would destroy him. But beating O'Malley isn't going to prove his case that he's worthy or ready for the great Alexander Volkanovski. So, yeah, there's a reason why he couldn't have the performance he wanted against Cejudo. It's just that wrestling, man. And hey, even if Yair Rodriguez is the champion of the featherweight division, if he does the unthinkable against Volk, Yair Rodriguez kicks Sterling's head through the front row like Zabit did to him in sparring, okay? Yair would fucking destroy him, bro. Yair Rodriguez is good off his back. His takedown defense is better. And Sterling doesn't do shit to him on the feet. And Sterling, he just is not imposing his wrestling. I'm sorry, but Aljamain Sterling literally beats nobody in the featherweight top 10. He doesn't beat Max Holloway, doesn't beat Yair, doesn't beat Emmett, doesn't beat Topuria, doesn't beat Evloev, doesn't beat Arnold Allen. I doubt he even beats Korean Zombie. Even with TKZ being washed, I guarantee he could take Aljamain Sterling. Like, I get the weight cut is tough for Sterling at 135, but he can still make the weight. But he's too small for featherweight, and I feel like his style, it won't be as effective at 145 against these bigger guys as it could be at bantamweight. Like, bantamweight, Aljo could essentially continue dominating that division, defending his belt, like against Sean and whoever's next. But he's not beating the top guys at featherweight, and he's not beating Volkanovski. And I'm sorry, with that Henry Cejudo win, Henry Cejudo fought like a guy with ring rust. He hadn't fought in 3 years. That was not the same Triple C who obliterated Moraes and Dominic Cruz. 2020 Triple C, 2019 Triple C. I'm sorry, he claps any version of Aljamain Sterling. Like, don't get me wrong, Sterling is a great fighter, but his legacy is questionable. DQ title win off Yan, barely pulled through a split decision in the rematch. He destroyed an out-of-prime, frail, one-armed TJ Dillashaw, barely beat a Henry coming off the couch who hadn't fought in 3 years. And then, okay, fair play is going to go out there and derail the hype of Sugar Sean O'Malley. Most likely, he should win that fight, but it's all going to end for Sterling if he does go through with his plans to move up. It's just not going to work out for Aljamain Sterling. He does not beat Volkanovski on any given night unless Alexander Volkanovski really has an off night. But even Volk on his worst night still wins. Like, he better hope and pray, get on his knees like he always does, and just hope that Volk, has a low IQ moment like Jan and throws an illegal knee. Maybe he can hope for a DQ win or something, or hope that Volk has a freak injury, because if Volk is fighting smart and isn't injured or doesn't throw no illegal strikes, he wins that fight easily 100 out of 100 times. And again, Yair starches him as well. So, yeah, I just think Aljo needs to be brought down to earth, and that's one of the reasons why I'm actually hoping that he does lose to Sean O'Malley, even though he likely isn't going to. I would just like to see him get knocked off his high horse at bantamweight and have someone take the belt off him so that he can lose this delusion that he can just easily go up and take the featherweight belt. It's not going to happen, bro. It's not happening, bro. Sean O'Malley just needs to just send this dude to the shadow realm like Moraes did. Give him a bit of humble pie. Give him a bit of a reality check, because, again, he's not getting that second belt. Like, I just think Aljo, he's just feeling himself a little too much, but it is what it is. I don't think O'Malley gets it done, but I got another video on that matchup coming up real soon, because I have a few thoughts on that fight, but Sterling likely is going to beat him. But, yeah, I don't know, man. It's just beating O'Malley isn't going to prove anything. for him moving up, for his success at 145. But it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.